Hey guys, going a little extra rogue on you today. I'm down at our family's hunting property in South Texas. We're not very far from the Mexico border. And on today's episode, I'm gonna give you a tour of this right here, a 45-foot shipping container that's been converted into a rustic but very functional hunting camp. Let's go have a look. Before we go inside, let me give you a little quick tour of the outside so you know what's happening here. So first of all, to supply water for the property, we've got this tank right over there. That tank's a 500 gallon, there's a pump house right there, and that's how we're getting water to this. And then here's the shipping container that we're gonna be talking about. Before we go inside though, let me show you the septic field. This over here on the side is where the septic is for the property. And so we've got a field here, we've got a tank buried, and that's how we're able to do the septic. The next thing I want to mention before we go in is look at that over roof right there. That over roof makes a huge difference. You know, we're coming to you from South Texas here, where it gets extremely hot in the summer and really not that cold in the winter. The over roof with a little pitch and the metal, that roof is galvanized and it's really shedding the sun's rays, which is fantastic for efficiency when it comes to cooling the place. But also we had a leak develop before we put that over roof on in about year 3 or 4, and that totally has taken care of that. So a bunch of good things just from an inexpensive roof. Now we built this next to an existing barn, and we actually slipped another sea can in on this side that has a refrigerator inside because we're of course in South Texas where it gets hot. No need to cook your deer as it gets to be 50, 60 degrees even in a daytime winter. Next thing I want to point out is the bars on the windows. You know, this is in a area where we've got a lot of folks that are walking across the border looking for a better life, and so we wanted to make sure we've got good protection for the property and for the house. So we've got 2 windows cut in on this 40-footer, one on this side and one on the other. I'll show you what's inside in a second. We've got a fire pit out here, we've got our grills. It's just a great spot to gather outside. And then the outside doors also have these, which have been fantastic. Just some tube steel door protectors for these steel man doors, and then they've got a double-sided deadbolt right here. Okay, let's go inside and take a look. Okay, so here's what we've got. We first walk in on this side and we're in the bedroom space. We've got 4 bunk beds down here that have worked out real well. We've got a heat pump down here on this end, and then we've got a second one on the other end that are providing the heating and cooling. But as you can see, tight space in here. You know, we've got this 8-foot width to work with. As I mentioned, 45 feet long. These are just some inexpensive 2x bunk beds. And then you can see the inside of the walls here. This is all probably 3/8 V-groove plywood. The inside of the sea can though has been studded out with a 2x on the flat. And then there's insulation in between those studs. This also gave us a little bit of room to run electrical. Full disclosure here, I did not build this. This was built in Houston near the port by a guy named Ernie at Square One Containers 12 years ago. I don't know if he's still around or not, but this has been a great one. This has worked really well. Okay, now as we turn around, let's see what the rest of the property has here, or the rest of the building has. A little storage space right here for some hunting essentials. And then a super fancy bathroom. Check this out. Some storage space there. We've got a toilet, as I mentioned, that goes to that septic system. We even got a shower right here. Pretty rustic, but it works great for us. A couple of nice things that I like about what he did here. We've got shut-off valves for the shower. We've also got a drain down there so we can drain out the plumbing if we need to. Very smart idea. And then a tiny kitchen that's worked out real well. You can see in the left here we've got a little apartment size, very small range with an oven on top. Look at this, that's the only real countertop space in the whole house. Just that one little base cabinet with a Keurig and then a spot for a microwave above. Pretty small. Some good pantry shelves we added, a small size refrigerator freezer, just a little basic spot here in the kitchen if you were going to eat a meal here. And then a water heater in the corner, just a little electric plug-in model. Basic sink, medicine cabinet. This has worked out real well for us. Electrical panel up here in the corner. And then let's go down here to the master bedroom. Master's got a double bed in there. It's tight for two. You better like your wife or your partner in there. And then you've got again, another one of those heater and coolers down here. Now there's two windows just in one in each of the bedrooms. And then again, we've got bars on those windows. And then back here, we've got a little bit of storage space for the master bed. But pretty basic. Pretty sweet little spot. So, quick tour here. 12 years old. This place is looking great. It's worn really well. A little advice for you, if you're thinking about building or buying one of these, you know, over the years as a builder, I've had several clients come to me and say they're interested in using shipping containers, and most of the time they're interested in that for budget reasons. They figured it was a great cost savings. And I think that can be true. You know, if you think about this hunting cabin, I believe we paid $15,000 for this 12 years ago. Now certainly that price has gone up with inflation, but you could still buy a basic shell, you know, a 45 footer, let's say, for maybe $5 grand outside of Houston or within vicinity. Now if you're further away, shipping costs are going to bring that up. But to outfit the inside, $10,000, if you were doing this yourself, you probably could do that. It'd take you a while, but if you had one of these dropped off at your property, you know, through the course of a bunch of weekends, I bet you could do something similar to this with some basic materials. As you can see, nothing's fancy here. This is all pretty basic. But you could probably do it yourself for somewhere around that cost. Now, if you're going to hire somebody, certainly it's going to be more. And if you use more expensive things than what we've got here, the cost is going to go up. Everything we've got here is real basic. But it's lasted real well over the course of 12 years. But as I mentioned, I think the best way, if you're interested in doing a shipping container, is to consider doing the work yourself. You know, the plasma torch and some welding skills and some basic handyman skills, you could really do a project like this, start to finish, top to bottom. You might have someone else wire it potentially, or you could even have someone else plumb it, although if you've seen my other videos with those shark bite fittings, you could probably do all that plumbing yourself. Pretty impressive. A couple things I might tell you in the future if you do one of these hunting cabins. All the paneling that you see on these walls was stapled on with a finish staple. It'd be a lot more work, but you might consider using like a trim head screw. That way you could pop a panel off if you needed to rewire something and get access to it. The other thing you might consider is actually insulating on the outside. Now we're in Texas, we're mainly cooling, and with that over roof up top that's helping us out with the sun's rays beating on that metal, now we're in the shade, that makes a big difference for cooling. But if you were in a cold climate, or even if this was going to be your main house, you might consider a thick blanket of exterior insulation on the whole house. In fact, you could put this house up on, or the shipping container up on a crawl space, so to speak, so that you'd have a 1 or 2 foot space underneath. You could insulate the bottom side. You could have really a Yeti cooler out of a box like this, and that would make a huge difference in insulation. Guys, any comments on this? I'd love to hear them. Hit that comment button below. If you're new to my channel, this isn't normally what I do. Normally I'm talking about building products, best practice construction methods, building science, all those good things about how to build a really efficient, durable, comfortable, and healthy house. So hit that subscribe button. We've got new content every Tuesday and every Friday, but you're probably watching this the day after Christmas. Merry Christmas, my friends. Happy New Year's. I'm looking forward to seeing you in 2018. We've got a bunch of new content, and I think we're going to hit a big milestone in 2018. We're going to pass 100,000 subscribers. That's crazy. I've been doing this for 10 years now as of 2018. I started on YouTube 2008, and we're hitting 100,000 subscribers. What a blessing. Guys, thanks so much. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great holiday weekend.